I'm Trek with 2Ks. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so Restream is telling me audio's going out, but I'm not getting it on. My mic is green. Stream's telling me. Okay, there we go. Technology, folks. Technology, folks. Sometimes you just be having them the little, what do they call them? The technology demons. I guess that's on me. I don't know. I also note that Restream has changed some of the layout and some of the intro setting, so that might be another thing to play into it. I don't know. Nonetheless, let's start off from the top again. Hola, hola, buenos dias, buenos tardes. My name is Trek with 2Ks. This is Trek with 2Ks Live. If you don't know, the basic idea is I go through Twitter and I bookmark posts that scratch my brain. And so it's a matter of like, is it something that's like interesting techie wise? Is it something that like validates some shit that I said like a month ago or like 2 years ago? Or does it, disprove something I said a while ago or thought about the space? Um, or is it one of those like, this seems kind of fishy? Case in point, that situation with the Italia Bitcoin thing, that's really a residency program. But I don't want to throw too much, dirt on their name with what they doing. Like, if it work, it work. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it will be the most long lasting endeavor. But hey, if people get that residency, great for them. Considering how things are going, man, like, sometimes it isn't a bad idea to get another passport or a residency someplace else besides like your your country of origin, and so yeah, there's a couple of different things that scratch my brain. This particular well, Tuesday now, I was supposed to do this on Monday. Monday didn't work out the way I thought it was gonna be because I laid down and didn't get back up in time, y'all. Like, it be like that some days, and I be fighting it. But those of you who've been following for a minute, you already know what's up. Like, I'm stepping back into this what's it called? I am stepping back into this content space, and I'm experimenting with a bunch of different things. So like, I was going through pictures today. I'm bringing back some of the AI stuff, the AI generated stuff from like 2022, 21. I'm bringing back some of those AI stuff. I'm gonna start pushing them through on here, and I don't know however else, but yeah, that's what's going to be happening going forward. And as I've said, I've been just experimenting with some of the stuff now, like getting back into doing the blog writings over on LinkedIn, and then I'm also trying to work out doing a whole like a static website. Well, I'm not even going to get into that whole thing until I actually have it all set up. What's going on, Prospector? I appreciate you. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Yeah, I figured out what was going on. A little late, definitely a couple minutes in by the time I figured it out though. But yeah, so like I got things to like expand or double down on the digital footprint. And shout outs to Jake Fever, by the way, because I called him about some stuff, and he was very helpful in regards to giving his advice to a beginner for the particular thing that I'm looking to test out. And yeah, man, so let's jump into some things. Some of these posts and what's been going on. So we're gonna start off with the taxes, and for those who are new to what happens here on Trek with 2Ks Live, I don't do price talk. I'm not gonna tell you what's the new hot thing. I'm not gonna tell you about a meme coin, a shit coin, a altcoin, none of that. I'm not gonna tell you where to put your hard-earned capital and time because I don't know your pockets. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor, but when there are things that catch my attention, aka scratch my brain, like this, for example, I do look to share, right? I remember when I went to Thailand, and it's, oh man, like what was that, 2018? And like the way the crypto space looked out there then is not how apparently it looks out there now. Like even trying to use, the GPS thing to like try to find an ATM, like that was a whole ordeal. But apparently it's a bunch of them out there now. And then how you have it now is that the Thailand government is officially saying we're going to implement a zero capital gains tax on Bitcoin and crypto, which I'm imagining that like Bitcoin is going to get the lead on it, and then the other cryptos is like, oh well, we only do it for certain things. But if you're one of those, um, as what's his name from crypto, damn, I can't remember the dude's name right now, but he says like go where you're treated best, and it's just like if you one of those people who out there using a passport and going to different places and catching residencies or catching multiple citizenships, if you're balling like that, this might make sense. I don't know what your situation is, but I know the cost of living in Thailand is dumb cheap compared to Australia. Name a place in Europe, or name a place in Western Europe versus Eastern Europe. It's a difference. Name a North American place. But Thailand is definitely cost of living wise is definitely doable. Like a lot of expats, a lot of military expats, a dumb number of Canadians and Australians and British folks out there. I don't know what the numbers look like now, but I know when I was out in Pattaya and I was in Bangkok, I ran across mad Canadians and British and Australian folks. But I don't know. Do we call this like a kudos, a hand clap to Thailand for them moving in this direction? Because the thought process is, what are they seeing on the ground in terms of, is it that they have more businesses coming in to do financial things related to crypto? Because arguably like Singapore or Hong Kong would have been the more suitable place to set up a business, because Thailand is funny about foreigners. And you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, there's things that happen in Thailand that are techie for sure, but Thailand isn't known in that region of the world as like, oh, this is top 5 place to set up your crypto adjacent or crypto related business. Just throwing that out there. If you're a regular person though, this might be cool. This might work for what you need. You know? I don't know. I guess we'll see how this plays out at some point down the road. Oh, so just gonna run through this kind of quick. I got like 2 ETH stories. This is one of them. And so excuse me. This also kind of goes to the point of how when you look and this reminds me of something that I just got in over on LinkedIn, where someone, oh my God, I forgot the original post of what the lady said, but I was like, well, I mean, the Bitcoin white paper kind of tells you what the point was. And so here comes somebody who's like, I'm going to say more degreed than me, to be professional and like nice about it. And so you know how some people will do like the over explanation, and here this person comes with the, oh well, in the white paper it says that the tokens are supposed to be this, and it never actually explicitly says blah 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 about it being used as money. And they go, and I mean, like when I tell you they wrote out some shit, they wrote out 2 responses, because at a certain point your response gets capped, so you have to your character count gets capped, so you have to start a new one if you have more to say. And I'm just over here like, wait, so you're telling me that the title of the Bitcoin white paper is open to interpretation? What else did you think electronic cash was supposed to be? And I don't know, like that just kind of threw me. Whereas it's like I get how engineers can be very technical. I get how ASPE people can be very literal. I get how some people like to I'm gonna use this like just pejoratively correct mansplain stuff, and I feel like that's what this person did, where it's like, well, the white paper blah 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 blah. And then when I said what I said about the like, so you're telling me that the title of Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, is open to interpretation. What? How? But then again, I'm not as degreed as degreed as this person is. So I just kind of had to let it go for a little bit. And then I took the responses and put it in like I put it in what it was a DeepSeek, Grok. I think I put it in Gemini and what's the other one? I put it in another one of the LLMs. And I'm like, all right, like is this a proper response to saying is the title of the Bitcoin white paper open to interpretation on what Bitcoin is supposed to be used for? And it gives me this whole different thing. And the answers are all relatively the same. Some of them give a little bit more counterpoint to like where the person is kind of being extra. But yeah, like, so how I relate that to this whole thing with Ethereum is that as one of the original cryptos, right? Listen, I'm gonna get to what you just said. Prospector. So to this thing with Ethereum, right? And as I had said last week about how the way these LLMs are working, if you don't know certain things or you don't know how to question the response to have it not just give you um a good sounding casual answer that like again, if you don't know certain things in the history of the space, or you just don't really know how to prompt it with questions to get it to actually double check what it's saying, it'll say stuff to you where you're just like, oh well, all right, I guess. So imagine the people who are getting into the crypto space now, and if they're using LLMs, there's things that they're going to be told that they don't, if they weren't here for the crypto winter of 2018, if they weren't here for the drop down of 2022 for COVID, if they weren't here for the early days of like yield farming, if they weren't here for the hash rate war, like there's things that you can ask these LLMs, but like if you don't know somebody or you didn't read about it earlier or like have some inkling to be able to question it in a way to double check stuff, you get the answer it gives you. And because of how we take now, well, oh, I searched it online, that AI LLMs is elevating to the, oh, I saw it online. Oh, nah, Siri told me that. Oh, nah, Claude said that. Because you got the voice function now, right? So now all of them got the voice function. It's so crazy how like I think within like 2 weeks they all dropped voice functions where you could have the conversation with it. So like you could ask the question and it'll give you a response back in what particular version of the human voice you want. So like they pretty much all have it now, and it's just like, yo, like, but it so has this like 1984 vibe to it, because if you don't know, because you never read the stuff or you never heard about it, you just walk away with whatever it said to you or whatever you read off of the screen from it, and you think that that's what it is. But back again to this whole Ethereum thing, and I thought this was kind of funny. And I'm gonna actually read through on this one just because of how this joint played out. At least to me, I thought it was funny. Again, it's about the things that scratch my brain. Some of y'all are gonna agree with me. Some of y'all are not gonna agree with me. It's okay. I'm a big boy. I'm all right with people not agreeing with me, right? So Ash Crypto puts this whole thing out. If I put 10,000 in Ethereum in 2015, I've had 200 million by now. Answer: no. If you bought $10,000 worth of ETH in 2015, watched it go to 10K, then go into 1 million, then go into 14 million, and did nothing, then watched it go 14 million to go 390,000, and then still did nothing, then watched 390,000 go to 30 million. Jesus, the numbers were crazy then. And still did nothing, then watched 30 million wither down to 1.2 million and still did nothing, then watched 1.2 million surge to 93 million and still did nothing, then watched 93 million deteriorate to 5.3 million, then watched 5.3 million climb to 323 million and still did nothing, then watched 323 million shrink to 54 million and still did nothing, then watched 54 million surge to 200 million, and then for some reason finally decided to do something, then yes, 10K in 2015 would it be worth 200 million today. Like, the way this space has moved, right? So like in the early days, it was, oh, well, Ethereum is supposed to be a better version of Bitcoin because we can do this smart contract stuff with it, which gives it more of a autonomous ability to function when you add it into this other code layer that you can do transactions on. And then of course, and this was kind of like to the point in a way of what the person was saying, where it's like, all right, well, what gives Bitcoin the value? What gives Ethereum the value? They weren't talking about Ethereum. They were talking specifically about Bitcoin. But like this whole, how did we work out that this thing had the value? And it's like, but it wasn't supposed to have a value beyond a Satoshi is a Satoshi. It was just supposed to be, here's another medium of currency that can be used to exchange product for service, product for other value. And it would be outside of what we call TradeFi, traditional finance. This is a peer-to-peer, person-to-person thing. But people being people. And that was what my answer was. I was like, yeah, so like the Bitcoin white paper, kind of answers this particular thing that you're saying, but like we got here because people are people, like humans are humans. That's how we got to where we are right now with this whole, oh, well, Bitcoin is of this value in terms of comparing its price point to another currency, to another monetary system, to another financial instrument. Granted, different technology bases, but like these are financial instruments. These are monetary systems, right? Same thing here in ETH. And I mean, I don't know, man. Like I look at it all now, and I'm not saying I have the perfect recollection of every moment and like the perfect overview, and I'm like the super technically understanding dude, like not at all. But I feel like I've experienced enough of this. I've talked to enough way freaking smarter people than me, from Mind Your Biz to 3D to my guy out in Detroit, Crypto Blood, to like I remember I met one of the dudes who made one of like the first earliest crypto wallets, like even to shout outs to Edge Wallet, my guy Paul out there in Cali. Like I've been around some pretty smart ass people in this space, man. And I don't know, I just look at this all now and it's just like people being people. Somebody figured out there was a way to make a capital gains off of this thing that is called a cryptocurrency, and this particular flavor of cryptocurrency can have a monetary value in comparison to another currency, and so off to the trades we go. Again, people being people, right? Because that wasn't Vitalik's initial intention behind this. It was like, no, I'm going to make a better version of Bitcoin that can work with this thing that is called smart contracts that have an autonomous functionality to them. Like, they can do stuff and I don't have to actually be there watching. I don't have to actually do the transaction myself. I can delegate the responsibility of financial activity, like, outside of a person. Outside of the person who codes the contract, I can delegate financial responsibility for financial activity through a smart contract. Yeah. That might be one of my takeaways today. I don't know. We'll see how it works through the rest of this. But I just thought it was funny. It was like, yo, that's so crazy. Like the up, the down, the roller coaster ride, and people still holding on, you know? Ooh, what the hell did I? Oh, damn! I knocked everything out. How did that work just now? What the hell? Okay, hold. Oh, you killing me. Okay, that's you. That's you. Where are you? Oh man. Okay, so you're there. I didn't need this window. All right, bet. Okay. I don't know what I did just now, but like I have multiple windows open and everything just like went to the straight desktop screen. All right. This caught my attention because I agree with what this lady is saying. And granted, first time seeing this account, um, and I don't even know how this person got on my radar. I think I was just exploring through and like crypto related or Bitcoin related trending topic, and this popped up. So makes a great point. Everyone thinks Wall Street is adopting Bitcoin. They're not. They're absorbing it. Here's the part that nobody talks about. They're not buying spot BTC. This is like the whole over the desk thing, OTC. They're wrapping it in ETH, notes, funds, collateral products, the whole ETF stuff. Once the asset is wrapped, Wall Street controls its flow, liquidity, and the leverage without holding the actual product, which is what you see happen in the paper markets for precious metals. And I say this to y'all not as financial advice. It's just one of those. I've paid attention to smarter people than me who deal in these different economic and financial realms, and this is how I understand it. You move people further and further away from the base product, the base resource, the base technology, the base layer, whatever the thing is. Hence the whole thing of what derivatives are, right? And so I so agree with what she's saying about this. Because, like, think about over the last, 6 months, how many ETF things have come out. Shout outs to Tej. I'm gonna get to that post in a minute because this also plays into what this lady is saying. Also, um, Lens. Shout outs to Lens because Lens tagged me in something. If y'all see something that's interesting, and granted, don't please no price talk stuff. But if it's crypto, blockchain related, techie something, tag me because he tagged me in something yesterday. And I was like, you know what? I got to, yeah, it was yesterday because I was supposed to talk about it yesterday. And I didn't wake up in time to talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it today. Um, so yeah, where was I going? Yeah, but like this is definitely what is a cautionary tale. Because if you wrap the base layer, the base product in so many other derivative things, like where is the community, the public space, the average Joe's ability to influence this thing we call crypto if you're no longer connected to the actual asset, right? How does that play out? Because on the paper trade side of it, or the ETF side of it, or the bond side of it, the notes, whatever, like that's all TradeFi playground. Through the regulatory part of it, through the excuse me, the what is it? Wall Street, the stock exchange, all of that stuff, like that's all that playground right there. Where do you sit in that as the average Joe on this thing that was meant to be a peer-to-peer system? Not a thing that has like a bunch of different gate guards in it that are giving you not the actual product itself, but a derivative of the product that they have 100% control around, from the technical implementation of it to the legal side of it. Like, what do you do with that? How did we get here? I understand how we got here, honestly. But the part of we're not being adopted in the way that people think. I think this just bumped the other stuff I was saying about Ethereum as the takeaway. This might be the LinkedIn write up for this week about the Bitcoin adoption is really absorbing it and wrapping it. I'm gonna come back to that. So as y'all know, I have had here and there points about your boy, oh god, what is his name right now? Why can't I remember his name right now? It's not Mike Green. Damn, I am horrible. I cannot remember his name right now for the life of me. But oh my god, I need to remember his name because I called him a grifter like a number of episodes ago. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. To jump back real quick, prospector, to what you had said about the whole good point and people using I'm in the wrong screen. Crypto based on their needs, like that's literally the stuff we said like years ago. And then because the trade element got so big because of the money aspect, everything just turned to the like, oh well, it's a financial asset, and we started just putting everything about crypto in terms of financialization, and like in terms of like financial worlds, the trading world. And it's like, yeah, but like who remembers when people was oh god, what is the name of it? It begins with a D and I can't remember the name of it right now, but like they were using it down in Mexico. Dash, bam. Who remembers when Dash was being used? What's his name? It was a Danny Dash, Danny. I can't remember his name right now, but like he was pushing it heavy down in Latin America, like out in Chile, like Argentina, Mexico, and like Dash moved faster than Bitcoin did because of its consensus and like clearance time stuff, and it was cheaper in regards to the transaction fee stuff, and like that was a thing back when. And nobody was like, oh yeah, Dash is like gonna skyrocket into the moon. No, that's a lie. Like there were definitely some of the people who were on that time with it. But there were people in that community who were definitely more about the like, I need this to move. Remittance. There we go. Remittance. It was heavy on the remittance network with folks versus Bitcoin, which it had its people who were using it on the remittance side too. But like Dash was definitely doing this thing back in the day. Now it's the stable coins. Who is it? I think Tether has the bigger outside like pool market, adoption part of it right now for that. But like at one point there were no stable coins. Like Doge. At one point, I remember when Ken was using Doge to like transfer money to folks. If you don't know who Ken Bozak is, you I don't know, you might not go back to my timeline. Shout outs to him, by the way, and happy belated birthday, because his birthday was Halloween. Yeah, Halloween. Shout outs to him. I hope he's doing good, man. That's the bro right there. So I cannot remember this man's name right now, and I don't feel his brain scratchy about what he was saying, but in this clip, how am I saying this? He was making the point, like he does break down like how he lives, and he really is. Well, no, it's a asterisk next to living off of Bitcoin. So he has X amount of is it Jack? Damn, what is his name right now? He basically liquidates X amount of his Bitcoin per month to pay his bills. But because of what he does, like he gets his, I believe with the well, I don't know how the 21 joint is working out. Because I remember there was a whole big ramp up where like they were at like Bitcoin Miami, or where was it, Bitcoin Texas or Vegas or wherever they had the last Bitcoin conference, and that was a whole big talking thing and whatever on the PR side. But like for someone who how am I saying this, has been in the space as long as he has, even he, for as much as he knows, is not fully able to live off of Bitcoin the way that like we argued it back in the day, where it's just like, oh, well, you can pay for this in Bitcoin, you can pay for that in Bitcoin. And like, yeah, we do have X amount of adoption in terms of like, you'll have some places that will accept the Bitcoin, liquidate, cash out on the back end, and then, you know, deal with their side of the business as far as vending and stuff like that. But it's a weird, not a weird place. It's an interesting balancing act. So like in one regards, I say hats off to him for how he is able to still accumulate Bitcoin in this day and age for where he sits in the crossroad of TradeFi with like the crossover of the crypto space. But to the point that he was making in this, it's like when you're spending though, like you still have to pull in money to cover what you've spent. And it's not even well, I didn't get into the whole thing, but I'm gonna move on because I'm totally losing my point on him and what he was saying in this particular thing. Yes. So Do Kwon, oh God, what was the name of the crypto that Do Kwon did? And it was the synthetic, quote, synthetic stable coin, because it was like based on cryptos and other stable coins, I think. So short of it is the Do Kwon sentencing memorandum dropped last night. Here are some of the most interesting nuggets. Remember, this is all a service to the aim of getting him 5-year sentence and painting the $40 billion crash of UST in May 2022 in the best possible light. It's a whole thread. That's wow. I didn't even remember that it was that high. 40 billion. 40 with a B. Oh man. You know what? Let me open it up, because what I want to know is let's see where to go. Where are you at? As part of his plea, okay. Do is sorry for bashing critics who warned about USTD's depeg risks and many Am I insane? Arrogance? Whatever. That's BS. Whatever. All right. So second one. As part of Doe's guilty plea, he admitted to lying about jump trading secrets role in propping up UST during a short DPEG in 2021. Now he's throwing jump trade under the bus, saying he wanted to go public about jump trade role. No, that's not what I care about. If he gets okay, no. I didn't read this earlier, y'all, when I had seen it. I just thought it was like, oh wow, like that finally played out. Wow, he's okay. So does that mean he's gonna get part-time served? I don't know. But yeah. Wow. It's a long 7. How much does it go to? It goes for a while. Point being is he got time. I don't think he got like the Arthur Hayes CZ deal, but you know, like he got his time. He's gonna do a couple of years. We'll see how he comes out. Yeah. Okay. I think it was this one. So Poly Market, which they do like some whole predictive market stuff. Uh Not necessarily my cup of tea for what their platform is known for, but this is what Lens tagged me in. Just in, some New Yorkers are getting $1,200 in crypto for universal basic income experiment sponsored by Coinbase. And I said, wait, what? Who thought of this? And then I had to step back for a second. We're gonna jump out of this for one quick minute because I'm gonna have to show the face. Well, not my face, but this face. This got me because I thought about it in terms of like, all right, universal basic income in terms of giving a segment of the population a digital cash, a digital cash, and being like, okay, use this to take care of your needs, right? Like your food needs. If you're able to do it with like well, depending on what your situation is, are you able to do it as far as covering utilities? It depends on where you are, right? But usually that's done within a nation state currency. So like here's a card or like here's a voucher, a piece of paper or something that says you can take to this place and it will give you X amount worth of food. Here's this voucher and you take it to the office of this utility company and it will cover X amount of your usage of utility, right? In this scenario, they're going, here's some stable coins. I think it's USTD, so it's Tether. And they're giving them like, and it's not a whole lump sum of just like, here's $1,200, go off and do. It's like, no, here's a couple, I think it's a 1,000 or something on the, what is it? It's like more than 2,000 on the front end. And then they dole it out every couple of hundred after the initial bulk. And in my mind, I was just like, wait, so like, do y'all already have the vendors that are willing to accept the stable coin? How did y'all work that out? Because and what was it? I was looking at one of the numbers and it was like, wait, that's what you get on the first implementation part of it? Because like for those of you who are not from New York, or you haven't, or you don't know nobody out in New York right now, it is not cheap. New York's price in like for inflation on food, on like on gas, if you're a person who drives, if you use public transportation, if you're talking about rent. I like I was like, wait, what? Like oh no. 12 12K in my mind is definitely not enough. You're in a studio in Manhattan. Depending on where you are in Manhattan, you're talking about like 2K easy in a studio. 2K easy in a studio. So what is that? 6 months of just rent? That's assuming your landlord or property management company would take this form of payment. But I imagine that this is more geared towards like folks who are in a family setup, or I don't know, because like the way this read, and I didn't go to their site to actually figure out the whole thing in full. But it's just like, is this like, did y'all pick like individuals who are just on the lower economic pay scale, like income ratio, or like did you target people who are already within like SNAP Section 8? And it's like, well, their numbers are low, like they're below what the average person spends who's like, I have a full-time job, it's more than one person in the household, you know what I'm saying? Like it, it's gonna be interesting to see if this actually gets any legs to it. And then the other part, ooh, don't let it be that y'all like give folks who are not, let me say, legal New York residents, because ooh, yeah, there's a whole thing that New York is still dealing with as a backlash to how they were dealing with providing support to immigrant populations under what's his face, Mayor Adams. And that dude was a whole story and a half in his own. Anywho, jumping back over. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. It is. All right. This one on the techie side for the folks who are into the whole AI movement and stuff now, which is kind of like you. I feel like this is one of those like you would imagine folks were already doing it, or this is just Anthropic just finally throwing out that, oh yeah, we've been doing this, because I think it was Anthropic that put out the report about how some nation state actor, and they were blaming it, I think, on the North Koreans, were using AI to do like a new type of hacking. So now they're like, oh well, let's go and scan through smart contracts on blockchains to find vulnerabilities and zero-day attacks. And it's just like, okay, well, we're finding stuff. Well, I mean, you would think this would have been a thing before. So now I wonder if what follows is we're going to start to get a slew of stories about how AI is being used to exploit smart contracts, which I mean, it's kind of one of those like, when I tell you like it's such a cat and mouse game, you can never figure this shit. Yeah, facts. Sometimes you just can't ever figure it out. Yeah. I'm. Anywho, I'm not gonna jump back on the Coinbase thing. We'll see how this pans out in the coming months. It's either gonna be a actual like, oh wow, we validated that you can do universal income through crypto, which is like, well, duh, like that wasn't a real high bar of entry to figure out. Like, I'm not even gonna get worked up on that one. Back into the Anthropic thing and smart contracts. I feel like this is it's not the canary in the coal mine. It's the like, here's the blip, and in the coming months, you're going to see stories start popping up about how bad actors, and it's gonna be over there in the East, have used AIs and LLMs to exploit smart contracts, to hack smart contracts. Like, it's a cat and mouse game in one degree, but in the other part is just like it's just the writing on the wall. This is just how the technology stuff works out. People see that there's money to be made through illicit activities. Other people say, well, no, I'm just using the code in a way that it can be used. You might call it hacking. I'm just saying I'm using it in a way that it can be used. And the AI just happened to help me figure it out a little bit better. You know? I think this is just going to be the indicator of a trend. You're going to hear about more hacking via, well, in tandem, in tandem with AI, as like, oh, well, now we know that they use blah 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 AI to do da 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 da. So for all the like the safety measures and the safety bars that are being put up for like the regular user person, it doesn't really mean much to a person who is like really looking to be the hacker type. Like, if I want to do bad, I'm going to do bad. And then the other funky part about it is all of the attention goes to the people, quote, over there, right? And in that, like, the attention goes to the people over there. But when we do these things and use these tools and implements, it's just like, well, no, we're doing it for national security. Well, no, we don't do that. Or no, when we do it, it's okay. Like, the genie has been let out of the bottle, and then folks are going to get mad when other people do the same thing we're doing. That's the part that gets me, and how this cat and mouse game works on the technology side, even on the bilat, like the global trade side. Like, you just see it so many different ways, in how we do what we do, but then we get mad when other people do what we do. And if you understand what I'm saying about who the we is, it it fits and makes sense. Yes. Um Next, and like I said, shout outs to Tej, because Tej called this out a while ago about Vanguard allowing. Well, okay, so here's the original post that he did back in March. Once Vanguard starts seeing their competitors stealing customers because they won't approve Bitcoin ETFs, they will play ball. That's like the last big firm still sidelined. And then this comes out, I think Monday or like over the weekend or something. Vanguard allows trading of crypto ETFs on its platform. Vanguard is finally letting clients trade crypto ETFs, but still it isn't launching its own. Again, getting to that point of what the lady prior was saying that I showed you, in that, is it adoption? Eh, eh. Adoption is a dicey word in this scenario, because are they actually letting you get the crypto? No, they're giving you a derivative of the crypto. Is it actually adoption, or is it wrapping of a crypto? Right? And then, like, what does it mean if that blockchain, or that crypto belly up somehow? Does it really matter? Because it wasn't the actual asset itself, it was a derivative of it. Like, does it keep going on if the derivative gets if the asset itself, the direct baseline asset, gets messed up, legal stuff, technical stuff, whatever, does the ETF continue going on? Like, how is it a free, like, I feel, how am I saying this? This wrapping is not as free market as people think it is. This ETF stuff is not the free market and the financial liberation that people think. I'm gonna leave that one there. Boo boo boo. Oh, another one that scratched my brain. Wu Blockchain, told y'all a while. I've been following them for a bit. And so I seen this and it all right, let me read it out. According to Miner Weekly, Bitcoin miners are now in their most difficult profitability environment ever, as November's sharp BTC pullback push hash rates revenue down from roughly 55 per hash rates in Q3 to about 35. Hold on, sorry, someone said something. What the hell happened? What the hell? Oh, sorry. Somebody. Oh man, Jesus, Crimdom. My home people. Oh, yeah, my homegirl got into an accident. Lord, it's dangerous out there, folks. Check on your peoples. It's dangerous out there. It's snow in some parts of the country, and then the rain is a whole nother thing. But all right, onto this real quick. I'm trying to push through. All right. So basically, it's like, hey, mining isn't as Profitable. You also have to understand that the green incentive programs for like the whole pushing back energy into the grid, if you were like connected to solar or like pushing it back to whatever the local power plant setup network is, those things have been greatly curtailed under this administration. And so with that, yeah, of course the numbers aren't going to be what they were on top of um the 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 dollar value of Bitcoin dropping, because part of the game that was going on during the whole C19 period and even before that, when the green incentives were like up there, was all right, bet the mining reward is getting a little funky in regards to the hash rate stuff. All right, bet we'll turn off like these couple hundred miners over here, but we'll keep these going over here because these are more energy efficient. All right, bet turn off those over there, and then the energy that we're not pulling, sell it back to the grid. So they making their money either by winning the reward because they run a certain amount of machines, or they're getting money back from the power plant because they're selling the power back to them for what they're not using. Like, but the whole situation is different now, right? It, yo, I was saying this to somebody the other day. I've said this to a couple people actually. Like, I figured that it was going to be chaotic during this administration, but like the level and scale of it is what really gets me. In that we're we're not making a year until next month, but the number of things that have happened like over the last 4 months is just like, yo, you got to scratch your head and just like really wonder, like, wow, like I some of the things it's just like, yo, I didn't see that on the horizon. Or it's just like, all right, like I got the economy was gonna be a little bit messed up. I got that we were like dealing with X amount of a recession, but well, god damn, like what? Like, what do you mean? Like CPI is in the double digit numbers, but we're not gonna count. I mean, granted, we haven't been doing this for a while in regards to counting and the cost price index as far as like living for like your basic needs stuff. Like, we don't count food. What is it? Food, I think gas or something else. But like it's just like an across the board on things that you didn't even think of that are being really turned upside down during this administration. And the ripple effects for like how it plays out down the road is going to be generational crazy. Like I definitely like worry on like how my kids gonna make out with this. Like they still in their early stages of like, you know, figuring out certain things in life, but like these are things that are going to play out when they're in their latter 20s, when they're in their 30s, because this stuff is rippling in regards to around the world and how other countries, other nation states, and just like people are seeing us, right? But I don't know. Side note, or more to the point of my response to this particular thing was just like, so is this what we're saying for the folks who came in after 2020? Because depending on how much attention you were paying, like there are a number of it's not equity companies, but basically companies that had jack diddly to do with crypto were like, oh, well, we could fund you to go and do the whole setup of like a multi-thousand acre, you know, facility, and we'll just back it with this one and this way. And they're like either private companies or like Wall Street connected. But like these aren't people who gave two licks about any of the ideals of crypto. This was just, hey, we figured out that we can make money on this thing and we can run it for X amount. And then like once it stops making a certain level of profit, all right, we need to pivot on to the next thing. Like I just covered the story, what was that, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, about the mining company that's like, oh, well, we're getting out of the crypto mining and we're turning our facility into an AI server rack farm. Like we see the money's drying up over here, we going up over there. And like that's gonna be the next wave, right? The data centers, well, the mining facilities that are more corporate Wall Street private equity backed are going to make that transition of, all right, well, we moving over to the next money. The next money wave is this AI data center. That's where we're going to go. And considering how some of the stuff is going, like I imagine there's a level of it's easier to get when you get into like certain states and stuff, and it's like, hey, well, we want, you know, this kind of tax incentive or tax break and blah blah blah. Like when you saying, oh, it's crypto got the real dirty for the last umpteenth years, and now it's like, well, oh, AI, but like AI is like damn near 10 times as intensive as crypto was on resources. Just saying, man. Just saying. And then like I was making this point, um, I was making this point on LinkedIn, like in the West, we're arguing that you have to have the latest and greatest in order to quote win this AI race. And if you're paying any attention to the space for AI, like, and not just like, oh, well, I saw on CNN or MSNBC that like, you know, China's stealing our stuff. It's like, no. Actually listen to people who are in China on the ground, or like who are actually operating in the Asia region, who are like actually technically know enough to be like, hey, this whole thing about we need to have the latest and greatest to have the best AI, the math ain't mathing that way on the tech front. Like, what is it? I just seen something that was talking about how DeepSeek, Kimi K2, what's the other one? Um, is it Kwon? I think Kwon is Alibaba's joint. Like, they're not running on the top tier chips, but they are doing some remarkable work, and they got American companies that are using them versus Chat GPT. But that's not a part of the headlines, you know. Everything is about fear of the Chinaman. But whatever. Other thing of note that caught my attention was something that Reggie put out about Tether's risk adjusted reward profile, cash machine with big fat tail. It definitely is like heavy on the finance talk and analysis. The short of it is it's like, hey, Tether is not all it's cracked up to be. If you're on the business side of it, like this is a short-term play and not like, oh, this is going down in 3 months. And this isn't financial advice, but I'm really summarizing because the article is kind of long. Excuse me. And then he's like, if you're on the development side, um, don't hardwire USTD, sorry, USDT to be the only thing that your stuff works with. Because at some point there is going to be an issue with this. And if you're hardwired to it, like you're about to lose just your whole setup. Because once it has its hiccup or it goes down, and down meaning like it has an issue where they can't circulate the tether, or like something happened through regulatory steps or whatever. His argument is also partially based on his patents and stuff, but um I thought it was interesting. He's definitely stepping up the game in how he's doing these financial technical analysis in relation to like his patents and stuff. And then I mean, again, we gonna see how this play out, because it definitely seems like, how do I say this? On the surface, it seems like no one is paying attention to what he's putting out and the arguments that he's making. But I would imagine if you're really digging in to some of the moves that some of these exchanges, some of these news platforms, the crypto news platforms in particular, um, the stable coins and stuff like that are doing, if you're really paying attention, you could argue like, well, they know something's up or something's up, because they're doing things that seem to either try to really hard ignore what he's been saying, or like they stay very, very clear of um any attempts to be like, hey, but what about blah 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 with the Reggie Middleton guy, which is the same thing as hard ignoring. But anywho, you can definitely read it if you want to. You can find it on his page. I think this is like a day or two old. Yo, Eric Voorhees in this this is on CoinDesk, and he's like, yeah, now that he's like messing around with AI, and I forgot the name of the platform that he has for um his AI stuff, but he was like, yeah, so like it definitely is like crypto is for the computer age, like it's for, and I was like, I don't know, I feel like was he how am I gonna say this? How am I gonna say? Was he elevated um with a stimulus? I don't know. But when I watched it, I was just like, wow, like I feel like you said this years ago, bro. Like I feel like we've said this in general just years ago. Like it was gonna be money for the internet. Like we were obviously going to move into the age of where this was all about being digital and online. It wasn't like I was gonna take out, and granted, like, yeah, you could still do a thing where like you connect a wallet address to a QR code, and then like, hey, this QR code is um connected to X amount of this crypto, Bitcoin, whatever, and then like you hand that over as a, here's how I'm paying for something to someone, whatever. But it was one of those like, bro, like what made them ask you this question now, or like I feel like this is stuff we've said for years. I don't feel like he said anything new in it. I just thought it was weird that they brought it up now. Also, to note, like, just he be having his tweets where you're just like, oh, okay, I agree with you. That's a good one. Yeah, that makes sense. And then he have his tweets where I'm just like, what? Like, what made you think of that? Or, I I wouldn't agree with saying it that way, but okay, all right. You're Eric Voorhees. You've been here for a minute. I don't know. What was this one? Oh, been saying this for freaking how long now? According to Cryptopolitan, the Bank of Russia has confirmed that it is discussing easing cryptocurrency regulations with the Ministry of Finance, considering access beyond highly qualified investors. First Deputy Governor Vladimir Chistik, I'm not even gonna mess with the rest of your name, my guy, said that crypto assets become a normal financial instrument could become a normal financial instrument, and that the central bank expects to finalize its policy stance by the end of the year, which is less than 30 days at this point now. So 8 times out of 10, it's going to happen. But what's also interesting about that is, oh, wait, I don't know if that's the same guy. I don't know if that's the same guy. Um, what was this? So what is this, like October? I think it was October. I was talking about the thing about how okay, so whenever the Genius Act came out and that whole connection of Tether to treasury bonds, there was a conference that happened where one of the um counselors or advisors to, I think, either the finance department, the Ministry of Finance, or he's one of the Ministry of Finance people. He was like, yeah, this thing that the US is about to do with the stable coins is going to be a way to, like, um not devalue, but do something to mess up the dollar, to get out of the US debt. And so, and I've seen a couple other commentators break down, like, here's how it looks like it's going to work out. I don't know if this is the same guy though, because I really don't remember what the dude's name was. But considering the timing of all of this, where it's just like, all right, so y'all realize that, like, y'all do have to actually integrate X amount of this crypto stuff into your local financial realm stuff, right? But, like, are y'all actually going to avoid dealing with the stable coins, or like the stable coin projects that are related to the US? How are you going to avoid that? Because Tether, in comparison to USDC, is the dominant player in the global market, right? And even with them saying what they're saying about, like, the highly qualified investors, it's like, come on now, like, we know, no, there's the regular Joes in the space. Like, let's stop that. Okay. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to see, like, how they move forward with this. Because the dude literally said it at, like, some kind of big financial conference. And again, like, I've heard other commentators out of Eastern Europe and out of some of the Asian region places breaking it down, and it's like, yeah, this just seems kind of screwy for what's in the Genesis bill as it relates to stable coins and the treasury. But as I say, time will tell, right? Time will tell how this is going to look. Well, how it's going to play. Well, the time will give us the results. That's the part. Bank of America is now recommending a 1 to 4% crypto allocation for clients of Merle, the private bank, the Merle Edge, and will begin a CIO coverage of 4 Bitcoin ETFs. Again, they're not talking about the actual crypto, about wrapping it into some other product that you do not have direct access to the base instrument. just like the stories write themselves. The stories write themselves. Like, think about that. Like, again, if you have enough like, gold is such the perfect example of how you have the paper market and then you have the real asset market. And again, based on some of the smarter people that I pay attention to who've been dealing in those realms for, decades and stuff, it's just like the price of precious metals, name a precious metal, is not the actual price because of what is going on in the paper market. And the paper market is used to throttle the physical asset market. In the case of this crypto thing, it is, wait, what? Crypto standing. See, all right, and I've been saying this about what, and hold on, let me get to you. But yeah, so like the whole, it's being wrapped in all of these other derivative financial instruments, financial products. Like, I think it holds up to what the lady was initially saying. Like, it's not adoption. It's arguably adoption is not the right word in this scenario. That's what I would say. Mr. Baby Ears, what's going on, man? What's going on? And I agree with you, but I think that they're couldn't go on silverback stablecoin. So arguably, Reggie already did the golden silverback thing, but his thing is focused on silver right now. The smart metal stuff. Uh, uh what is that? Blushing and his mouth. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh man, yeah, that had me laughing because in my head I was picturing it, and then earlier today I was watching these dog videos. Like, yo, my YouTube joint is all over the place in topics, bro. Like, I be watching everything from like the whole 3i Atlas stuff to like, I'm not a red pillar person, but like I just find not the commentaries, because I really be like skipping through what the commentary people actually say, and I just like watch some of the clips and listen to a little bit of it. But then I also watch stuff on like rebuilding engines on a single overhead cam for a Subaru Boxer, like a Outback or like a Legacy. And then like the manga stuff. Like, when I tell you my YouTube algorithms is wild. And then, yo, has anyone noticed how heavy, when I mean heavy, I mean heavy, they have been promoting Black Friday and like the whole Cyber Monday sales stuff? It has been wild. And I'm over here like, yo, like, why am I even seeing this? I don't even know who these channels are. Like, who are these people? And it literally started from like, I want to say like last Monday. Yeah. And it's been going up until now, like, to the point where I don't like using the YouTube app because of how they're just flooding it with all of this marketing stuff for, the holiday seasons, consumerism. And I imagine the numbers are going to look like garbage at the end of this month, because fourth quarter ends, end of this month. So yeah, then they're gonna come up with whatever they come up with to explain away why things are what they are. But yeah, aside from the fact that like it's a struggle out here financially for people, um, And a lot of folks are living larger than their actual economic income. But a lot of us have been trained and conditioned to get into that mode. So another reason why I'm not the biggest fan of financialization, even though I have benefited from it in full truth, no cap. But I understand the double-edged nature of it and the trickery. All right, so let's get into this last joint so I can get out of here. I'm actually doing better than I usually do on time. I started a little bit earlier. It's not fucking super late. All right, so last joint here is Ethereum developers are testing zero knowledge, aka ZK, based privacy protocols enabling on-chain Santa Claus style anonymous matching. Participants use ZK proof to verify relationships, relayers to hide transaction origins, and shared randomness to encrypt gift messages, preventing address exposure, duplicate registration, or self matching. The protocol is seen as a key step in Ethereum privacy framework with potential applications in anonymous voting, DAO governance, whistleblowing, and private airdrops. In my mind, if they get to launch this, Tornado Cash folks should be freed because in my mind, IMM, there's no way you're going to tell me that if this makes it to mainnet, that there's not going to be some level of quote bad actor who is going to figure out a way to use this to their advantage. And then it turns into someone figured out or used zero knowledge to do a hack in a smart contract. And since they had like these privacy set, it's going to be something. It's going to be something. But I also still wonder on the end of like, depending on where you're holding your ETH, like you already KYC'd if you're on a centralized exchange. So like, what does that even mean? Like, it's like you have your name on your shirt, name tag, or it's like written all over your stuff. And then you like yell, hey, I'm walking into this house over here. The house is the exchange. The exchange has control of all of the rooms. And they're like, yeah, we're going to, connect to this zero knowledge thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know enough of the technical parts of how the zero knowledge thing is work or going to be implemented into this, but there's the part of I can't see y'all getting this adopted by centralized exchanges because of people who will hold ETH on these centralized exchanges and then want to do things like voting in their governance, or somebody might want to whistleblow on something, or like the private airdrops, like clarify the line for me on what is the distinction between this and doing like a regular transaction. Like, granted, the purpose might be in a different, different purpose and intention, but like, how are we distinguishing this between a regular transaction? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough of the technical part of it. I might have to have a couple of conversations between the LLMs and like, get them to break this down to me. Oh, bro, 100%, 100%. It doesn't mean though I literally said this on LinkedIn the other day, and nobody touched my comments. Nobody touched my comments. So like, all right, let me finish this last point and then I'll get to that. But yeah, I'm gonna have a couple of conversations between the LLMs and some other techie people like Rick Raleigh. What's his name right now? Yeah, that's the last joint I got. So I'm gonna bring this over here. I'm trying to remember his name right now. Why can't I remember? Yo, I am horrible with names today. Where did he go? Yeah, Rick Dudley. He'd be a person to ask about this. Bet. I'm gonna reach out to Rick and be like, all right, explain this to me and how this is no different a regular contract and like what Tornado Cash was doing. Please. But yeah, that's all I got on that. And in regards to what you were saying, Mr. Baby Bear, yes, I literally said this the other day on LinkedIn, and nobody touched my comment because I was responding to something someone else said. And I was like, what did I say? You know what? Nonetheless, I was responding to what someone else said, and I said, and in addition, here's like the quiet part out loud. Like, we just don't admit that we're losing at capitalism, and like our time is we're going into the sunset. Now, that doesn't mean that like, you know, we're gonna just fall off the world or off the map tomorrow. Like, obviously Rome is still, you know, in Italy. It's there. Um it's just one of those, it's not a one and done thing. It's a degression, right? It's a process of degression. Different things will happen. Um all right. Shout out, yo. Shout out to you, Prospector. Yeah, I'm gonna hit Rick up about that because he's like old school head on the whole Ethereum thing. Studying what involved diversified topics, gold, silver, American, very American, da, 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 da. Uh, who is this person on, or this account that does this on Twitch all the time? I don't know, but anywho, China, country, and its people. I mean, yeah, like I said, bro, like it's one of those. If you're listening to the stuff over here, you definitely get this level of like sanitized perspective. And I definitely see it in the LLMs. Case in point, even if you ask DeepSeek certain topics, it definitely gives you a, I'm not going to say a fully skewed Western view, but it gives you this view depending on the topic that it's not as harsh to like Western ideals or the Western point of view on the world and understanding of that topic. The same thing within Grok. Grok will have its, and it doesn't matter like in regards to the whole red and blue or like conservative liberal, like it's Western umbrella view and understanding of whatever the topic is. Granted, most of the time my topic stuff is in relations to something crypto, but even when I've like veered off on other topics, it is definitely under the Western understanding or framing. And then you'll even see it with certain things where you're just like, yeah, but like, well, what about blah blah blah? And it's like, oh yeah, well, you know, yeah, that kind of did happen too. And they'll still push back on you to like soften something that was like historically divisive, but like you can't dispute the historical fact that this thing did happen. And it like, yeah. Samurai Wallet, yes. Samurai Wallet devs too. Like 100%. 100% for them too. Mandibles. Ooh, all right. I'm gonna have to look into that book. Yes, 100%. In regards to the whole gold thing. Mandibles. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. But it is a Tuesday night. Yeah, the vibe is different on a Tuesday night because I got work. Well, I mean, I would have had work this morning too if it was a Monday night. But yeah, the vibe it's a different vibe. I don't know. It just I feel off. Is the bottom line point of it. I appreciate the folks who tapped in. I appreciate the folks who commented. I appreciate the lurkers. You I know I do not have the largest following or people who are interested in what I'm saying. I'm okay with that. And it is what it is. Like I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know my scratch my brain segment is not for everyone. And I'm cool with that. Yeah, it is what it is. Other than that, like as I would say if it was a Monday, I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you got to recharge your batteries. I hope you had, good time with the family and stuff, or like at least with the folks that you care about. So you were in good company in a safe space and, all right, cuz it's rough out there. It is definitely rough out here. Like I heard some stuff today that I was like, okay. Like, wow. Just got the text from my homegirl coming out of Kentucky, had a car situation. Like, things are happening for people, and it's not always apparent. So that's the other part. Check on your peoples. Check on your peoples. Um, yeah. So that's all I got for y'all. And as I say, from one human to the next, the best that I can wish is that you are in a safe place, in a safe space, and in good company. And I will hopefully check y'all next Monday, and I'll be back in a better vibe because I definitely feel a little off at how today flowed. But again, I appreciate all y'all for tapping in. All right. And this is what I got. This is what I got. Oh, I'm working on some other like Be Real stuff. Side note. I'm Trek with 2Ks.